Yeah, aloha people. I hope you didn't miss me too bad, but I'm in Hawaii and you're not. So there you go. All right, here we go. We are going to do these, our first review packet. I'll go through each problem, just kind of go through how I'm thinking, and hopefully that helps out a bit. The first one's always a simplifying. So when we're simplifying, what we're doing is basically all of them, we're just trying to break them down into its factors. So you can start at the top or bottom. This one looks easier in the bottom, and it gives you some clues what you're looking for. I know they both share a 3 can come out of there. That means I'm hoping on top I have an x plus 6. Okay? So I have an x and an x, and one of the factors of 30 happens to be 6. Now it's going to be 5, and I have a positive 1 in the middle, so it's going to be a positive 6 and a negative 5. Well, that means my 6's go away. And I'm left on top of the x minus 5, and bottom a 3. Now I just like putting in parentheses around just because it looks nicer. All right, over here, same thing. This time the top is actually called the difference of perfect squares. That's going to be an x plus 7 and an x minus 7. And on the bottom, again, I'm hoping one of these go away. I know it's x and x. 49, the only factors of 49 I know that I can use are 7 and 7. And because the middle side's negative and the outside's positive, it's got to be that way. So those go away. Now I'm left with x plus 7 over x minus 7. Now, no, you cannot cancel out x's, cannot cancel out the 7's. You're done right here. Leave it alone. Okay, when you add or subtract fractions, you need a common denominator. Now, in this one, you already have one. You have your common denominator of x plus 3, so you're fine. So all you have to do is now go straight across. Okay, so I know the denominator, x plus 3. Now, be careful with this. I always like to put parentheses here. Okay, so it's now going to be a 5x minus 3x. Well, that's easy. That's 2x. Now, careful with this. It's a negative 2. Okay? It's a negative 2 minus a negative. So it's actually going to be plus. So it's negative 2 plus 8, which is 6. Okay, now if I do some factoring, bottom, no, the top, yeah. I could pull a 2 out of that. Give me an x plus 3. The bottom is an x plus 3. And for that, those go away. I'm left with just plain old 2. All right, in this one, you have a couple choices. You can either do some cross-canceling right now, or multiply straight across and cancel out the end. All right, so I'm going to multiply across on this one. So 4 times 8 is going to be 48. And I have 2 a's on top and 4 b's on top. The bottom, I have a 6. I'm going to put them in order, 1a, 3 b's, and now it's a counting game. Okay, how many times 6 go into 48? Well, that goes in there 8 times. I have 1 a on bottom, 2 a's on top. Where you have more a's top, how many more 1? So I'm going to put it there. Same thing with the b's. I have 3 b's on bottom, 4 on top. So I have 1 more b on top. So I have 8ab. Now if I would have canceled right away, I could have done this. I said, you know what? This 3 goes into this 12 4 times. This 2 goes into this 4 twice. Then I had 4 times 2, which is 8. Now here, same thing. I have 1a here, gets rid of this one. I have 3 b's here, gets rid of those. So now I have 1a on top and 1b on top. So either way you do it, you're going to get the same answer. Those are first 4. Let's clear these and scroll down. All right. For number 7, we're multiplying. When we multiply, we want to do some cross-canceling first on this one because I don't want to multiply 4 squared times x squared minus 16 and so forth. So I'm going to just go ahead and do some factoring right away to see if things can go away. So here, x, that's a difference of perfect squares. Again, you're going to see a lot of those. So there. And the bottom, the first one, I could take a 4 out of there. Leave me an x minus 4. And this here, all that I can pull out of there is just an x. That leaves me with an x minus 16. Now I just look for stuff I can get rid of. I have a 4 here, 4 here, 1x here, 1 there. I cannot do anything else there, so I'm left with an x and an x plus 4 on top. And the bottom, all I have is an x minus 16. And no, I can't do more canceling. Can't cancel out x's. Okay, now dividing fractions. Remember when you divide a fraction, you multiply by the reciprocal. So I'm going to do 2 things in 1 step. First, I'm going to factor this first one. I'm going to leave it alone because that's the first one. So the top is an x plus 5 and an x plus 5. The bottom is going to be, again, an x and an x, and it's a minus 3 and a minus 3. Now, this is division, so I'm going to change that to multiplication. And remember, flip your fractions. So x minus 3 goes on top, and that x squared plus 5x, I'm going to factor an x, give me an x plus 5. Now I just look for things I can cancel out. An x plus 5 over here and here, an x minus 3 here and here. So on top, looks like all I'm left with is 1x plus 5. And then the bottom, I have an x minus 3, but don't forget I have this little x hanging by itself here. X minus 3. And there we go. Okay, let me clear this up and screw up a little bit for you. Next two. Okay, again, multiplying fractions. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to factor the tops here. So it looks like I've done this already. X minus 3 and x minus 3. And over here I have an x plus 3. On the bottom, another perfect square, x plus 3, x minus 3, and then I have just the little x plus 4 all hanging over here by itself. So what can I do here? I have an x minus 3 and an x minus 3, an x plus 3 and an x plus 3. So on top, looks like I'm left with an x minus 3. And the bottom looks like I'm left with an x plus 4. There it is. Okay. Number 10 here, I'm adding fractions. I need a common denominator, and I don't have one right now. My common denominator is going to be the bottoms put together. So over on the right-hand side, I'm going to need x plus 3 multiplied to everything. And over on the left side, it's missing 3x. All right. So now I have to FOIL the tops, or not FOIL, distribute. The bottom is done. So I know that my common denominator has to be the 3x times the x plus 3. Right here, right here. Okay, now I'm just going to do some distributing. 3x times x is 3x squared. And then 3x times 1 is plus 3x. And then it's a plus sign right here. So plus, same thing over here. 2 times x is 2x, and 2 times 3 is 6. Alright, now I'm going to combine some things and see if anything can cancel out here. We can do some factoring. Let's see here. So I know the top now is 3x squared plus a 5x plus 6. The bottom, a 3x and x plus 3. So the only chance I have here is this top factors, and it has a factor of x plus 3. Now, because I have a 3 here, these are both positive, the only factors I could have would be 2 and a 3 and 1 and 6. And either way, when I multiply by 3, it's bigger than that 3. So this is as far as I can go. Right. Now complex fractions. All right, complex fractions. This top is okay, so I'm going to leave that alone. The bottom I have some problems with, just like last time. I need a common denominator. The common denominator is both of these put together. So this side is missing a 4, and this side over here, unfortunately, is missing an x plus 1. Okay, so the top's fine. Leave the top alone. 20 over x plus 1. Bottom, here we go. I have to distribute this 1, this top here. That's easy, because that's just going to be x plus 1. Over on this side, don't forget a minus, and then just 7 times 4, so I have a 28. The bottom, remember my denominator is going to be, this all put together, 4 over x plus 1. Okay, now if I simplify this a little bit, I will have, again, the top is still 20 over x plus 1. Now, the bottom, if I clean this up a little bit, this top part right here is just going to be x minus 27. The bottom is still 4x plus 1. But remember, this division bar right here, where you started the whole problem, means to flip it and multiply. So we're going to change now, instead of dividing, into multiplying. I'm going to flip this fraction upside down, so on top will become the x plus 1. And now the other part that I've simplified a little bit is going to be the x minus 27. Alright, well I have an x plus 1 here, x plus 1 here. Ooh, I have an 80 on top, and then at the bottom I have an x minus 27. And no, there's nothing else I can do with that mess. Alright, 11, same thing here, complex fractions. So we need to get a common denominator on the top here, so the bottom one is just a 2. Down here, the denominator's got to be x, so I need an x on the bottom, so I have to multiply by x over x and then for 1. So the top becomes, again, and it's a minus, so it's going to be x minus 10 over just plain old 2. And the bottom becomes 6x plus 3 over just plain old x. Now remember, this bar is a division. When we divide fractions, we flip and multiply. So x minus 10 over 2 times, flip your bottom now, x over 6x plus 3. Alright, so on top, looks like I'm going to have an x, and then an x minus 10. And on the bottom, I have a 2 and a 6x plus 3. Now, I know that nothing's going to cancel, but I could rewrite this bottom, actually. Because this right here could be written with, I could factor out a 3, because then that leaves me at 2x plus 1. So I could write it as 6 times 2x plus 1. Still, doesn't factor anything. I could still do that. Alright, those are complex fractions. And now, putting this up together and doing some extra solving. Now, solving, it's a fraction here, it's a proportion. I'm just going to cross multiply right away. So I'm going to write this as 5 times x squared minus 9. But you know what? I'm going to go ahead and factor that right away. So I can write that as x plus 3 and x minus 3. And now I go the other way here, equals 2x times x minus 3. Now, see I have x minus 3 here. I could divide both sides by x minus 3, which would mean they would go away. So I'm left with over here 5x plus 15 equals, and then all that's left over here is a plain old 2x. So I'm going to do one of two things, subtract 5x or bring the 2x across. It doesn't matter which way you do it. I'm lazy, so I want to do the least work as possible. So I'm going to bring this over here instead. And then divide by 3, and I'm going to get x equals negative 5. I'll do the same thing on the last one here, but you have to have a common denominator on this side first. So unfortunately, I'm going to rewrite this as 3 over x. And then give myself some room here. And then 2 over x plus 1, and then equals 4 over x. So my common denominator is going to be this bottom put together here. This x is x plus 1. So I have to multiply by x plus 1 over x plus 1 on this side. On this side, I need the x. Okay. So I know that my common denominator on the left is going to be x times x plus 1. Now I need to do some distributing here. I have a 3x plus 3, then a minus sign, minus 2x. Don't forget that equals 4 over x over here. So I clean this top part up. I have a 3x and a 2x. So that just is becoming an x. So on the top I'm going to have an x plus 3. On the bottom I have an x times x plus 1. Over here I have a 4 over x. Now I need to cross multiply. So if I cross multiply this mess here, I have here everything else. So I multiplied 3x plus 1, so an x plus 3, and I have x plus 1. Let's simplify here now. See here, 3x plus 3. If I cross multiply this mess, then I have 4x times x plus 1 equals, and then x plus 3, x plus 3. Well, I get rid of this x and this x. Then distribute it, we have 4x plus 4 equals x plus 3. And then I do some subtracting here, so I'm going to move this x over here across, so it'll give me a 3x, and move this 4 across, that's going to give me a -1, and divide by 3, that's equal to a -1/3. Oh, kind of messy, but I hope that helps you out. I will be back soon, and I'm going to do the next review packet for you. So stop by and check it out. Aloha.